Okay, I think we've got quite a few people in the chat, so we might as well get to it. Um, it's great to see everyone again. I'm Tobias, urban farmer and a resilience grower from Farmall. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Um, we've got a really cool bunch of things on the agenda for you all, so really excited to get through. Just going to start by doing an acknowledgement to country. I acknowledge that I'm standing on tonight I'm streaming from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners, and I respect their elders past, present, and emerging. Cool. So yeah, tonight we are going to go over, we recognize that we've probably got some new people who are joining us who either didn't join us in the new stream. So if that's you, put your hands up, give us a wave. So we're going to kind of go over some of the house rules from last week again, just quickly. And that'll be done by Abby. Then we're going to go on to some discussion about the best place to put your aquarium in your house. We've been getting lots of questions, and it's been really awesome getting lots of all the feedback and questions from everyone in the course. And one of them has been about the best place in the house for people to put their kits. So we're going to address that. We're going to talk a little bit about Saturday's Zoom session and what to expect. Then we're going to do a little bit of a microgreen 101. So what are microgreens? Why are they so awesome? Why are we actually growing them in the first place? And why we think you should be super excited and stoked about them. And then we're going to finish with a bit of a logistical update because we know that some of you are missing some components of your kit, which we apologize for. But we hope you'll understand that it's got to do with a lot of the shipping issues that the whole country is facing at the moment, but we will address that as well. So, and then we'll go into a Q&A session where everyone can ask their questions, and if you have any questions about stuff we haven't addressed, that'll be the time to talk about it. Cool. I've can see in the chat that there's lots of stuff about people's favorite fruit. I think mine's probably mango as well. Can't beat a good mango. I like to eat them whole and just the juice go everywhere. It's quite a spectacle. Cool. All right. I'll pass over to Abby. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, I love eating mangoes. I was in Sri Lanka and they were so juicy. I had to eat them in the shower because I would just get the juice everywhere. Anyway, so just some house rules if you weren't here last week, and expectations for these Zoom calls as well. So these are generally going to be a time for us to go through some questions, but also we'll be having guest speakers on in the coming weeks. Be on mute if you aren't asking a question, but also feel free to write questions in the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the session. It would be great if you could all put your cameras on so we can see everyone's faces if you feel comfortable doing that. And we also recommend going on gallery view. So in the top right hand corner, you can change it to a grid view so you can see everyone's faces. And yeah, we'll just be nice to each other as well. That's a rule. Cool.
Yep. Sweet. Thanks, Abby. Nice to each other. I think we can get that done. Cool. So let's get started with where the kit should go. So we put out some videos at the beginning of this week talking about how to put your aquariums together. We've been really excited and see all the really awesome unboxing videos that have been coming out on the Facebook group and on social media, and of people setting up their kits and everything. But of course, naturally we want to help you guys be the best informed about where to put everything and get everything set up correctly. So Luke is going to give us a bit of an overview about some of the best places in the house that you can put your kit. So yeah, take it away, Luke.
Cool, thanks Tobias. Can everyone hear me okay this time? Cool, thumbs up, I like it. Also particularly enjoying the people eating dinner. I really love how cozy. Hi Damo, how you doing? So you got your kits, which is exciting. where to put them. Yeah, some good questions there that I've been seeing online. The main thing to consider with the fish tank is the temperature. So the fish are like they're a freshwater species, and they do like the water to be a little bit warm. Now we don't have heaters, like individual heaters for these tanks, but that's okay because it's quite a small body of water. You just want the tank to be in a room in the house that is kind of like a normal room temperature. So, you know, if you have like an outdoor laundry that's sort of you're in Melbourne or somewhere really down south and it gets really cold overnight, 10 degrees or something like that, 5 degrees, probably not the best place. So try keep it somewhere in the sort of the middle of the house that will kind of keep a nice ambient temp overnight, and then, you know, warm up a bit during the day so that water temp will kind of level out. Water is really good in that it holds a lot of thermal mass, so you're not going to see big fluctuations in the temperature, but just try not to let it get really cold or really hot. I know we've got a few people from the NT who ordered some kits in Darwin, so maybe for you guys it's the other way around. You just want to keep it around that kind of that mid 20 degree mark, and should be able to manage just fine. Another thing with a fish tank is you don't want it flush up against the wall. That's because we want lots of nice ventilation around the tank and around the microgreens mainly. So you imagine produce growing outdoors, it needs a lot of airflow, and the same is true for indoor produce. So the airflow is really important so that the microgreens germinate and grow well, and also to help avoid any potential mold issues or the leaves kind of not growing properly and kind of fleshing out. So sort of a nice warmish room, lots of airflow, so don't put it right up against the wall. And it's heavy, so the fish tank's at least sort of 40 to 50 kilos once it's got full of water and the produce and all that, and as well as the styrofoam box. If your first choice is to use it as a hydroponic growing setup, it's also going to be full of water. So you need a nice strong table basically, and it needs to be completely on the table. We don't want it just off to the side, you know, happening a little bit over the edge, because that could be really dangerous with that tipping over, especially if you've got little young ones running around. So hopefully that's clear. It can go anywhere really. In terms of lighting, if you're using the grow light, then it can go any room in the house. It doesn't have to go by a window, things like that. If you're not going to use the grow light for your hydroponic kit, it will definitely need to be near a light source or near a nice sunny window. So like a northwest sort of facing window, so it gets a decent amount of light during the day. The fish tank, because you have the grow light for the microgreens, near a window can be nice for the aesthetic, but you don't want it to be in front of like a big north facing sunny window, because too much natural light can cause some algae issues in the water. So again, it's all a bit of a balance, and everyone's home will be slightly different. If you have any questions about that, like jump onto the Facebook group, send us a little photo of your setup, and we can tweak it, you know, to everyone's sort of custom setup. But the main thing is keep the tank in a room that's warm, it kind of doesn't fluctuate too much, have nice airflow around it, and make sure the tables are strong to hold both the fish tank and the hydroponic unit. Any more questions on that, we can definitely answer some in the Q&A, but that's sort of like a good kind of general advice for setting it up. Oh, they do have heaters, Abby. There you go. I didn't know that was the thing. You got heaters, so that's even better. So the heaters will definitely do the trick, but you don't want to put those heaters under like a big strain. So yeah, don't put it in your Melbourne backyard old outhouse that's now the laundry, because it's going to get too cold overnight and it's not going to be a fun time. But other than that, pretty much any other room in the house is fine. Cool. I think that's it for the placement.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks, Luke. One thing I might add to that is if you can get it as close to the kitchen as you can, it'll certainly encourage you and help make it easier to cut the herbs and the microgreens and add them to your meals when you're cooking. That's why, because it's either in sight or it's close in reach, and you'll just make sure that you get maximum usage out of all the microgreens that you're growing. But that's only if you have a spot, so near the kitchen. Sweet, thank you, Luke, for that, for covering that. Now I'm going to pass it over to Cecile, who is going to tell us a little bit about the Zoom session on Saturday and what you can expect to learn there. I'll unmute you, Cecile.
Hi, everyone. So my favorite fruit is watermelon. I feel like there's too much love for mango, which I love so much too, but team watermelon. Okay, so Saturday, that's going to be our first week. We're going to do a Zoom with kids. So we're pretty excited to meet like everyone, all the little ones and the bigger ones, I guess. So that's Saturday. We're going to send the link if you want to register. I don't know if anyone has kids tonight that would be keen to attend also on Saturday. So what we're going to do is pretty much like get to know each other, ask the question about what they're doing with their tank, why are they so excited about it. And we're going to start using those little guides that you've received in the kit. And we're going to start growing some seeds, and we're gonna get creative as well. That was not me, that was good. Yeah, so we're pretty excited to have a chat with them and start like engaging with the younger one on Saturday, and that's gonna be the start of like a weekly Zoom session. So yeah, looking forward to it. So sign up if you wanna join, or yeah.
Yeah, so the link to that should have been emailed out on Wednesday. You can register via the link in the EDM and through there. And thanks to everyone who registered for this session as well, using the Thursday link. That's going to make it, when you register, there's a bunch of questions that shall come up, and I'm sure most of the people in this group have done that. And thanks heaps for doing that, because it makes curating these sessions for you guys much better. You know, we know what you guys want to know about, what you're learning about, where your interests are, and then we can tailor the content so it suits you perfectly. And also pre-prepare any content for any questions that we're getting a lot of, so that we can be super efficient with these calls. Sweet. All right, I'm going to throw it back to Luke now, who's going to tell us a little bit more about microgreens and why they're so awesome. There was a document or a PDF in the email on Monday that kind of covered this a bit, but you know, we also want to throw it to Luke as well and get him to talk about it, being the urban farmer who spends a lot of his time growing microgreens. And yeah, so let's hear from him. Thanks, Luke.
Cool, thanks, Toby. Yeah, I feel some days, especially when we were up running in the city, microgreens were like the only people I saw in my life. I'd sort of wake up and check on them and say goodnight to them and repeat the next day. Microgreens are great because they fulfill a lot of functions. So they're edible, which is great because it's a really good way to get people into back into nature and getting interested in growing things is if you can eat it at the end of that cycle. They're really quick to grow as well. So there's that really good satisfaction and that quick fulfillment. Often with farming, it can be weeks and weeks, months and months of sort of preparation and growing and maintaining until you get that reward. So with microgreens, you can go from a lifeless seed in a packet to something on your dinner plate in literally 2 weeks, which is pretty great. They're really nutritionalness as well. So the reason being is all the energy that's needed for that plant to grow through the initial stages. So think of it as out in the big bad world, and it's going to germinate and it's going to survive just on rainfall and the sunlight that it gets. So the seed is actually packed with a lot of nutrients in order to get that plant growing until it can establish its root system and its sort of leaves and branches and start to absorb nutrients from nature as intended. So you can get a lot of nutritional benefit from a small amount. So there's some studies. It's still kind of like a bit of a cutting edge sort of field, but there's been a couple of studies that we refer to that shows that broccoli has 7 times the amount of nutrients as compared to its fully grown counterpart. So you could imagine eating a whole like head of broccoli, or maybe just like, you know, a small sort of fistful of broccoli microgreens, and you get the same nutritional benefit, which is really great, especially if you've got fussy eaters in the household, little ones. We have to try and disguise the veggies in, you know, all manner of ways. It's a really cool way to get nutrition of veggies into your system without having to actually consume a large amount. They're also really easy to grow as well. So like we've shown on previous weeks, you can grow them on paper towel, on some toilet paper, on the hemp matting that we provided you. You can grow them just scattered in the top of the soil. So it's not a huge, you don't need a lot of like infrastructure to set up. It's not like you're setting up a farm. You need a tractor and a plow and kind of do all this fancy setup. So it kind of ticks a lot of really great boxes. And there's a great flavor there as well. So my favorite microgreen is the flame tree mustard. That's in one of the packets you all received with your kits. I did a video on that came out on Wednesday, and that was one of the seeds that we did. I kind of picked that myself because I just love it so much, and I wanted you guys to get to enjoy it. It's like a cross between mustard and like horseradish and wasabi. It's like a lot of heat as well. It's really, really intense. Like it starts off nothing and then kind of hits you, and it's just really exciting because this tiny little leaf is like, how do you have so much flavor and so much heat? It's really cool. So I've kind of converted my friends and my family to microgreens over the sort of the last year or so that I've been at Farmwell, and I'm always bringing home bags of excess produce, and it's really great. It kind of freaks people out initially. They're like, what is that? Are they weeds? Like, is that something that's illegal? And it's like, no, it's just broccoli, or it's just wasabi, or it's snow pea. So yeah, that's kind of why we choose microgreens. Yeah, Farmwell isn't a microgreen company, but microgreens is one of the tools that we use to get people involved in urban agriculture and growing, and yeah, getting people excited about growing their own food at home, which is really what it's all about. Yeah. Yeah, Toby, I think that's kind of 101.
Would you like to give a little teaser as to what microgreen we're going to be growing next week, Luke?
Yes, one of the coolest microgreens going around is going to be snow peas. They're definitely the biggest microgreen that we grow, so they can get quite tall, really lush, and they probably most resemble the fully grown product as well. So we don't grow them to the stage where they start actually growing the flower and then the pea pod itself. But the pea tendrils is something that you can actually get in restaurants and cafes and buy in the supermarket now as well. So we feel like we're definitely on the cutting edge there of what's cool in small vegetable land out there. So we'll be doing peas, which takes a little bit more prep than the other seeds. You have to soak them, but we've got some videos to take you through all of that. Snow peas are probably my next favorite as well because they're super versatile. I cook them in all kinds of ways, and they're really tasty, really fresh. I love the reaction when I give a snow pea tendril to someone and they bite into it and they're like, it tastes like peas. And I was like, that's because it is peas. Like, it's just, you don't see it at this stage normally. And that's always really cool.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys can all get excited for that. I can vouch for the snow peas as well. They're definitely one of the most versatile and delicious microgreens, and super fun to grow as well. Sweet. All right. Thank you so much, Luke, for covering all that. We're now going to hear from Geert, who's going to tell us about some logistics and about the rest of the components of your kits that are getting shipped out to you as soon as possible. So, G, would you like to speak to that?
Hi, good evening all. Welcome to the second week of the program. Our main goal this week is to get you all going, to get you all set up with your tanks. So you probably have seen way too much of me already in the videos this week, going on and on about all the different components. Like this week we just trying to get everything delivered. There's so many couple of things that didn't exactly went according to plan. So we'll send you out a little questionnaire on Monday. So it'll be amazing if you could fill that out. A couple of questions have been raised with the lamps that the bolts weren't really fitting, and we've discovered that some of them are wider than the other ones. So in the wood shop, something has gone wrong. So one edge is about 2 centimeters wide, and the other one's about 1.5 centimeters. So if your bolt's not fitting, that means that you've got one of the wide ones. And then if you let us know, then we'll send you a larger bolt so you can actually make it fit. All the water pumps and air pumps have been delivered to Melbourne, or to the Victorian ones today, and there might be a handful that will be making it into your mailboxes tomorrow morning. And then for the rest of the country, there's a whole bunch of water pumps that are being posted with Australia Post, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm hoping they'll arrive early next week, but if it takes a bit longer, it's hard to really judge at this stage when they will arrive, but we'll keep tracking numbers of everything, so which we'll update you with early next week as well. So hopefully then early next week everybody has all the parts that required to complete your setup and join Luke on the first microgreen adventure, growing pea shoots. Yeah, just from my end, what I want to add to that probably is that microgreens, I've been raving about them for years now. I think people are probably a bit tired of me talking about microgreens. They're just super versatile, very, very easy to use to every meal. When you have them in the kitchen, you can add them to your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and it's just the easiest way I found to add nutrition to your diet. And yeah, it makes things look great, makes it tastier. And because they're so hard to get in the supermarkets, you can hardly ever find them. It's great to grow them in your kitchen with your farm or home. Yeah, so I think you've all been on a little adventure for those who've received the kits this week. So I think, Tobias, are we ready to do some Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. Can open the floor. So if anyone has any questions, just either use the hand raising icon, like a thing in Zoom, or just unmute yourself. Just trust you all to be civil and unmute yourself and then just ask a question, or just chuck something in the chat. Yeah, sweet.
Quick one.
Yep.
So I received my large growing kit, and then today I received the smaller kit with just the heater and some of the other bits, but I'm still missing a second arm for my growing light. Was that meant to come in that kit today, or is that coming in a third package?
That's coming in a third package, yeah.
Awesome.
Still waiting for a few bits and pieces of that, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
No, you're right.
Gerd, are you able to answer Megan's question in the chat? What are both the air pump and water pump used for? Do you use them both at the same time?
So if you have a water pump in your aquarium, there's no need to use the air pump, like both at the same time. You'll need the air pump later on in your hydroponic box to aerate your water, but you can also use the air pump to turn on your undergravel filter. So by connecting the air pump to the thinner tube of your undergravel filter, that will operate. But the undergravel filter will also operate with your water pump and at a much better rate if you actually connect your water pump to the larger tube of your undergravel filter. And we've provided you with a clear flexi tube, which you can use to connect them both. And next week we'll talk you through your water quality and undergravel filtration and how important it is for creating the good bacteria in your system that are going to kickstart the biological cycle, which is allow you later on to grow very nutritious, tasty microgreens.
Awesome.
So yeah, you can use both. If you haven't received the water pump yet, you can get started with the air pump. What I found often is, especially if you have it in a room where you enjoy the quiet and peace and quiet, that the air pump might be a little bit noisy at times, and water pump will be quiet and easy to use.
Sweet. Thank you, G. Luke, we've got a question for you about from Suzanne. I'm just curious, when you cut your microherbs to eat, do they keep growing, or is that the end of the plant and you reseed the hemp mat?
Excellent question. We get asked that a lot, especially at the farm walls when we have them out and about. So the short answer is no, they don't grow, because to put it bluntly, you're killing the plant at that point. So you imagine a tray of microgreens. What you're actually looking at there is hundreds of tiny little plants, because each seed represents an individual plant effectively. So when you're snipping off the tops of those microgreens, you're basically killing that plant. You will find that some seeds may potentially have 2 stems, for example, and if you just cut one, the other one will keep continuing on. Also, you may see every now and then if you've cut a bunch of microgreens off and it actually exposes some of the other seeds underneath, they'll continue to grow and germinate, and it'll look like the tray is growing back, but it's just the original seeds that had never germinated or had sort of stopped their growth once they got crowded out by the other ones. The idea behind that is once you've harvested, the entire hemp mat with all the root matter and excess seeds and things like that can go straight into your compost. So we put that in our the microgreen seeding sheet that we did for this week, where I showed you just how to do the broccoli, the radish, and the flame tree mustard. There's an instruction there that says the hemp mat can go into your compost bin, your food scraps bin on the kitchen bench. If you have a worm farm, you can even go into your green waste bin, your green household waste bin, because it's basically just organic matter. It's basically plant matter. So yeah, the hemp seed, or the seeding mat and the seeding is a one-off thing for each one that you sow.
Makes pretty good compost as well, I'm pretty sure.
Really, really excellent compost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's also carbon and also nitrogen. It's like primo. Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. Has anyone started, like anyone who has received their kit, started to set it up and want to share how they're going with it, or any?
Oh, I saw a little hand, Faith down there. Yeah, you guys.
I've just unmuted you. Oliver, you wouldn't tell them what we're up to?
We're up to putting the water in, but we haven't received our water pump.
That's okay. They know that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so we've got the lights set up. It's just next to us here. So we've got the lights set up, and we've got the styrofoam box sitting next to it. And Oliver's very proud of his leafy stick insect.
Oh, very cool. I was like, what is that? Yeah,
We've got 3 of them.
Okay, nice.
So we have a series of things in a row. We have leafy stick insects. We have the area that we're going to have the plants growing in the foam box.
We have Daniel's clock.
And we have a clock we've made out of wood. And we've got an aquarium for the fish.
Lovely. It's a
fantastic
new setup. It's great you're filling up the tank with water now, because that will allow all the chlorine to evaporate over the next sort of week or two. So that's good.
It's rainwater, so that makes life easier.
Perfect. Even better. I'm jealous.
Life is good. Hi, Jared.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, guys.
Have you decided what kind of fish you'd like to put? What fish you're keen on?
No,
just fish. Any fish will do.
Yeah.
Fish.
Yeah. We're really keen to start getting everyone excited about the fish and everything. We're going to be setting out some stuff in the next couple of weeks or next week or two about the different varieties that you can have in your tank and everything. So.
Well, we checked out the Coburg Aquarium website today, or at least I did when the boys weren't looking. And there's some really cool fish on there, little ones.
Which one's the most colourful?
There's lots of colourful ones.
We have a question from Megan. When we add water to the tank, should we turn it all on? So I assume that means the light and the pump and everything. G, would you like to speak to that? I know we didn't really cover the plugging in stuff exactly in the videos, but maybe G, if you could tell us a little bit more about that. Oh, we can't hear you. Give me a second.
Muted.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Better?
Yeah, go ahead.
And Megan, is it Megan or Megan? Megan? Yeah, from the moment the tank is filled with water, you can turn the air pump or the water pump on that you've connected to the underground filtration. The light's not necessary as long as there's no microgreens growing. So the light can stay turned off until basically our microgreens have germinated and they're starting to look for light. So, and the water pump or the air pump connected to the underground filtration should be running 24 hours at all times. If you've installed a power board, have many people gotten a Wi-Fi power board as recommended, or just use a standard one? The Wi-Fi ones are very easily to install the timers on and to install your to make sure that you can time things. But at this stage, a standard PowerPoint is alright until we start working with light and light hours and your air pump hours. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yep. Thanks, G. Yeah, I can see in the chat that some people have gotten the Wi-Fi power board, which is super cool. To those thinking of doing it, we would recommend, or you probably won't regret getting one. It just makes the setting up of all the automations of the system super easy and gives you a bit of peace of mind, and really takes a lot of the guesswork out of the growing as well with the lights and making sure everything's on and all that. Sweet. If anyone's having issues with the setup of that power board, just let us know. And if we need to, we can do another, maybe we can do like a bonus video or something about how to actually set it up directly with the app. Maybe later on as well, once we get the lights going. If that's, I can see Mitchell has the hand up. I'm going to unmute you.
Can you
Or if you would like to speak.
I think I just unmuted it.
Ah, second one. Yeah.
Hey everyone, nice to be part of the community. This is Dave as well, Mitch and Dave. We just got our kit a couple of days ago. We're in Melbourne, and yeah, we just set it up an hour ago. So
Sick.
it's going good. Yeah. Got a nice little spot just over on a little ledge, so sort of near the kitchen. It's all set up. But we had a question. We have a few extra pieces, and we don't know whether they were a part of the video or we followed along, but we have a few little extra things, and so we're wondering if these are just to wait or what happens with them. So, yeah.
Thanks, guys. It's really nicely designed. All the pieces are really well considered. So thanks for putting the time into thinking out how that all comes together.
Do you want to hold the pieces up to the camera again? I just made your video big. Let's see. That looks like the end to the, is that S zone, end to the G? Could you maybe comment on that?
I'm going to unmute you just a second.
There, he's assembling it. He's got the pieces right in front of him.
Yeah, I've got them ready here.
Oh, cool.
There are some of the pieces that arrived late, so the people in Melbourne have received them today. And the rest of the country will receive them with your water pump in the next few days. It's basically, it allows you to control your air pump and your airflow a bit better. This is what we call a check valve, which you can put in between your airline to protect your water pump from water flowing back into the pump. It's not mandatory, and it hardly ever happens, but it's just an extra protection mechanism. So basically, there's a wider end and a thinner end. You always want the wider end towards the air pump. And then the yellow one is a valve. So if your air pump might be releasing more air than you desire in your system, and it allows you to control your airflow. And especially if you've got an air pump with a double outlet, then you can actually cut off a little piece of airline and attach that to that second outlet of the air pump, and basically close it down with the valve. So a few extra control mechanisms for safety and volume.
Cool. What about this thing?
We have all the add-ons.
That's the air stone. You'll use that in your hydroponic setup later on. So your packaging in which the fish tank has been delivered. So that styrofoam box that will actually be used as a little farm. And we're going to grow lettuce and shards and other vegetables in there. And then we'll need your air stone to make sure that the water keeps circulating. So it can be set aside for now, and we'll come back to that later.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
There's a whole world that we're going to get into with the hydroponics.
Yeah.
So just hang tight, get excited. Yeah. Sweet. I've got a question.
Yeah, there's one from May. Does it matter which side the filter tube is on? And then one from Sarah afterwards.
For the fish tank? Is that what you mean, May? I'm assuming. No, not really. You can go either side. I tend to, when I do it, set it up on the same side that the light is on, just so sort of all the cabling and everything's just to one corner of the fish tank. that's just a sort of a practical measure, so I can keep it all tucked away. But it'll work on either side of the tank, yeah, on the gravel, underwater gravel tray thing. Ooh.
Sweet. We've got 3 questions here from Sarah. Winning at the question game. Step your game up, everyone. Come on. So the first one is the width of can you confirm what the width of the light arms was? Was it supposed to be 1.5 or 2 centimeters? The correct size.
The correct size is 1.5 to make the bolt fit. But if the bolt fits, then there's no problem at all. We had a few people that might have received 2 arms of 2 centimeters wide, which meant that the actual bolts and the washer weren't fitting correctly, so we weren't able to attach them together. But if you've been able to attach your bolts with your washer in between, it's very important that the washer is in there, then there's no problem, basically.
Sweet. Do you know the wattage of the lamps? And can you confirm the AC, as I want to, with an expert, hook it up to solar? How cool is that?
Yeah. The wattage, it's 15 watts.
15 watts. Sweet.
That's awesome, though, that if you can connect it to solar, that's a whole other level of sustainability.
Yeah, we definitely want pictures of that.
Are they AC or DC? I guess.
Not too sure about that. Let's have a look. Need to get the box.
Sweet. And the last question from her was, will this chat be shared again for all the gold that I'm not caught up to yet? We could share the chat itself from the video. We might be able to share it somehow if people feel okay with sharing that information with the rest of the group. But we can definitely share the video. We are recording it and we're going to upload and share that. Just an update as well about the videos. We've had some people who have joined the course sort of in this week. So next week we're going to do a bit of a bumper, like with a big email with, or in the EDM next week, you're going to get links to all of the videos in one, just so for the people who have joined, that they can access all of the content. Yeah. Sweet.
Cool.
And another question from Suzanne. I was looking at putting my tank outside on the covered pergola area. Given that kits have heaters and I'm in Brisbane, is this suitable?
Yeah, I reckon you'll be fine. I just wrote back in the chat.
Sweet.
You're very lucky up there in sunny Queensland. And yeah, especially if you've got the heater and the pergola area covered. Just keep an eye on the temps, maybe when you first install it. And as long as the water's not dropping below the mark that's set on the heater, you'll be just fine. The fish will have a great view.
You may just then want to cover the microgreens with some kind of netting or something once they're growing to keep the pests off.
Good point.
Yeah. Sweet.
And also, if you decide to have it outside, it's probably best to make sure that the area it's in doesn't receive any direct sunlight, because any direct sunlight that goes into the fish tank can help create algae in the tank. And yeah, that's what we're trying to avoid throughout the program. So make sure it's in a shaded and preferred even a covered area. That will avoid any issues going forward. I'm keen to see more setups and more tanks. Who else is keen to turn the screen around and show us what they've done so far? Patrick?
Oh yeah, I can see the one from Patrick. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
It's half done because, yeah, like a lot of us, waiting on the other arm and all that. But I started filling it up with water because I've only got a 1.5 litre kettle. So, you know, boiling all that, and then, yeah, a few trips between the kitchen and here. I had a question. I read it in the chat, but I'll say it anyway. Are there any aquatic, like I want to buy a plant later on to put in the fish tank. Is that okay, or are there any that I should be avoiding, or is there a chance that it'll, I don't know, like clean the water and then the microgreens won't get enough of the you know, the shit or whatever it is they need?
Yeah, that's absolutely okay. Like there's multiple water plants you can put in. Your water plants won't receive a lot of light because most of the light will go directly to the microgreens. So they'll have to basically live off the light pollution that's coming from the system. There is about 4 centimeters where your pump and your heater are near the lamppost that it's not covered by a growing tray. So that's an ideal area to plant your plants in that end of the tank if they need light. We also like to use ivy, which is an indoor plant, which you can actually just add in the water like a cutting, and it will start growing its own roots. And you can use the ivy to climb up your light post, which is an extra feature. Eventually, the ivy will root into your gravel, and will actually help with taking out the excess nitrates out of the water. Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, that is Devil's Ivy. Caroline, yeah. Cool. Well, we might wrap it up pretty soon. We're keen to keep these sessions short and powerful, so that we don't all fatigue, and we can just get all the good information. But yeah, as we go in the next couple of weeks, we're really keen to see everyone get their setups going, and like any feedback, any win, like Luke was saying last week, we really want to see your wins as well. So if you're like having success getting all set up, and you feel like it's looking super cool, and you want to put a photo in the group, we would love to see it. We're going to we have that prize for the best unboxing video as well. We're going to hold off until everybody's got their kits, I reckon, to make it fair. So expect to hear more about that in a couple of weeks from now, I assume. At the end of the next week or so. Cool. All right. G, can I pass it back to you to wrap it up?
Yeah, sorry, we're just typing in the chat here. So we're very excited, like Tobias said, to get the tanks going. Next week is going to be awesome. Like, we're going to introduce you to aquaponics, to seeding pea shoots. We're going to get our first speaker guest speaker on Thursday as well, Wilson Leonard, who knows everything about aquaponics. So he's very excited to start sharing his knowledge with you over the next couple of weeks as well. So yeah, like once we're all set up and we can all share our tanks and we know that everything's working and circulating, we can start growing together and learning together. And the weeks will be more focused on content and actually taking new steps and challenges. And yeah, enjoying the produce we grow and using it in our cooking and in our day-to-day lives, and become resilient growers. And from the moment we've got our microgreens under control, we can start learning about our seedlings and our vegetables, and start expanding our farming, our indoor farming experiment. So yeah, looking forward to see you all next Thursday.
Awesome. Cheers. All right. We'll see you later, everyone.
Cool. Bye, everyone.
See you, everyone. Have a good night.
See you later.
Toby, did... Oh.
Bye-bye now.
Wait.